I suffered from major depression. I wasn't diagnosed yet until I had the breakdown, and I was diagnosed with bipolar, manic depressed personality disorder, and it wasn't just till last year I suffered from hearing voices. And that's depressing right now to me. But I struggle through it and make it every day. But losing all my family, I just wanted to go be with them. And of course, that's not the right thing to do, but at that time, that was what was in my mind. Some people say it's selfish for people to try to commit suicide, but they're not where we were at in our heads at that point. So, I feel bad that people say that, but I couldn't help it at the time. I just wanted to die. What brought me to the point of suicide was about 10.5 years ago. I suffered from major depression. I had a breakdown. I lost all my family. I had no family, so I isolated. And I just got up one morning and said, I can't take it anymore, the pain, or anything. And so I had cut my wrist. And I did that a few times. And got stitched up a few times. And then that didn't work with me, so I started taking pills. I was on 36 different medications. And so it was easy to OD. And there was times that I didn't mean to, but ended up ODing because of the amount of pills. And I wouldn't know where I was at or what happened to me. I would wake up in the hospital 2-3 days later, and they would tell me what happened. My manager at the apartment complex found me out on the ground a few times, trying to get into my house, and I just collapsed. What was in my mind of wanting to die was I just wanted the pain to go away. The pain and the anger and other problems I was having, like with the police and coming to my door all the time. And I pulled knives out, and I almost got shot a couple times. And there was times I wish they would have shot me. But right now, I'm glad that I'm here. My last attempt at suicide was 10 years ago. And thank God mental health stepped in, and MVCSS stepped in. And they came to my house, and they got me to go to a wellness center. And I fought it at first. I didn't want any help from anybody. But I started going and taking the right classes, which helped me anger, overcoming depression. Trauma and grief was one of the best classes that I took. But it took me a while to get to even to talk to anybody. When mental health came to my door, it was Officer Ware, Dr. Stitch, and Eric Schrock from NVCSS. And they stayed in my apartment for the longest time talking to me, trying to get me to go to the wellness center. And I'm like, no, no, no. And so Eric goes, I'll pick you up tomorrow at 10. So the next morning, I didn't sleep all night because I was nervous. And next thing I hear, a horn honk. And I opened up the shades, and Eric's like waving at me. And I'm like, oh God, this guy is not going to give up. And so I thought, well, I'll go just this one time to get him off my back, and maybe he'll just leave me alone. That wasn't the case. They were there every day. John Stapp was a big part of my recovery. He worked at the Sierra Center. And he's the one that got me talking, him and Eric. And I got to know people and try to understand where they were at in their head too. And I understood what they were going through, of why they wanted to commit suicide and that. And so it kind of helped. I don't know if this is the right way to say it. It helped knowing that other people were in the same boat I was in, because that was really important. They were getting better, so I thought, well, maybe I could get better. And then I thought, well, what's going to happen to me? What if I get better? What's going to happen to me?
So it was actually kind of scary.
It was scary, very scary. And I cried many, many nights and days. And I got hired on with NVCSS in 2012. And I hadn't worked for 14 years. And now I've been with the company for 4 years. And it's a blessing. To talk about it. Even though it's hard and they don't want to, it is the best way just to talk to somebody, whether it's a friend, counselor, mental health, or wherever. Go on the suicide hotline and talk to somebody.
Thoughts about, what about, so why do you think we need to start talking about suicide more?
Because the way the world is going, and there's more depression, and people are undiagnosed, and they're walking around with not any help at all. And I'm sure they got suicide thoughts and depression and whatever. And so it is important that everybody starts talking about it, but people need to listen. That's the big issue. We want to be heard. And when people don't listen, people stop talking. So it's very important to listen.